All right. Welcome, everyone. Oh my gosh, we are so excited to see you this evening. My name is Dr. Stacy Holweger, and happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of our guests. And of course, to those of you that are watching the replay as well tonight, we have a fantastic lineup for you. We are in week 4 of a 5-part series on fitness and athletes, some professional, some just, doing their thing. But we have had instructors on here talking about how they're yoga instructors, personal trainers, row coaches. We heard from former NFL football player last week. We've had an amazing time the last several weeks. And so tonight I wanted to do something special, and I wanted to have a variety of ages and backgrounds in different levels of fitness, different types of competition, and have them share their personal experience and testimonials with you. So I have created a PowerPoint with their information. I'll be screen sharing that here in just a minute. But before we do, I want to share our disclaimer that the information that we're sharing tonight about Lifewave is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose anything. If you have any questions about your medical health, your medicines, or anything going on with you, please check with your healthcare practitioner or your doctor, whoever you see on a regular basis that is in charge of your care. Thank you. Yes, and we are not claiming to prevent any diseases either. So just know it's for informational purposes. You're going to hear again, tonight is about fitness. It's about athletic performance. It's about recovery through injuries and through enhancements of that performance as well too. So I'm excited to share with you tonight. Let me get started with my screen share. And let me pull this baby up. So this, you're going to have to watch it like this because I don't want to mess it up, and I still need to be able to maneuver all my things, okay? So this, we're going to talk about the backbone here with Lifewave before we hear from our athletes. This is Richard Quick, and David Schmidt is the inventor of our technology, okay? David has been inventing things his entire life. He invented our first Lifewave patch, the energy enhancer, over 20 years ago when he was working with the Navy SEALs. This is not a Navy SEAL here, but I do want to share with you who this is. So the Navy SEALs, everything was going great with them, using energy enhancer instead of their caffeine, amphetamines, uppers, that kind of stuff. And of course, we know what happened here in the US with 9/11. Our country had to take a different turn to bear more arms and protect the country. And so they pulled out of the mission that David was working on with the SEALs and the mini subs, inventing survival equipment. And he went to his good buddy, Richard Quick. He got connected to Richard at Stanford University. He said, hey, I think I've come across something amazing here. I've invented this technology, but I need proof. I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher, right? I need to know that this is actually real. And so he and Richard partnered together in this and doing studies with Richard's USA Olympic athletes and his swim team at Stanford University. Richard is a 6-time Olympic swim coach, and he has female Olympians. Well, 6 out of the 8 gold medal female Olympic athletes beat their PR using the energy enhancer in just a very short time when they started using it. So, yep, it was working. Things were going great. Well, 2 years later, 2 years of clinical studies before David decided to open his own company, start Lifewave, and actually share this with the public. And you can find all of that research. Leo put it in the chat for you, the website startx39now.com. You can see all those energy enhancer clinical studies, as well as the other 80 plus clinical studies that we have, many that are double-blind, placebo-controlled, even peer-reviewed clinical studies. So we have had a lot of professional athletes over the years that have utilized this technology. And I just threw some of their pictures together today that I've saved over the years into some slideshows, and, just cute, right? It looks great, but we have, a broad representation of a lot of different types of athletes that are out there in the spotlight using these patches. We can catch them, hidden down here and whatnot. So whether you're in the gym, whether you're looking to enhance your performance, or just to be able to be active, in your garden, whatever it may be, this technology works for you. It can work for anybody and everybody that uses it daily. So we're going to start with our first person. And this person is a pretty near and dear to my heart. It happens to be my 19-year-old son, that I'm so proud of him being on here with you guys tonight. So Trey, can you talk to us about your journey the last 3 years with Lifewave?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Good.
Yes, you are good.
Okay. Past 3 years. So I was in high school when we heard about this. I was playing basketball at the time, those bottom two pictures. Um, Basically at that point, I was doing some light weightlifting and mostly cardio from basketball. So my mom started me with the X39 and Eon to clean up any toxins, like it says. And then after that, I quickly wanted to try the energy enhancer because of the benefits that they say for endurance and recovery. And that is the first patch that I started to use after the X39 Eon. And I saw great benefits with my cardiovascular health. I was able to run up and down the court a lot faster. I was honestly playing the whole game. By the end of my junior and senior season, the team honestly was like going downhill. I had to play like the whole game anyways, so it was good that I was on the patches for that. And then started after basketball, I graduated and started getting into like heavy weightlifting. And that is when I started the carnosine as well as when the X39 came out. And so that is actually what I still use to this day is the X39 and the carnosine, or X49, sorry, and the carnosine. I use that, using it right now, been using it for the past like year and a half straight because that is what I see the best benefits for weightlifting, with the X49 being so good to increase muscle mass over time. Also with the carnosine to increase fat oxidation, increase metabolic rate. So I'm able to eat pretty much. I don't have the greatest diet, but I try. And I'm able to eat more lenient things with a higher metabolic rate, not gaining too much fat. On those three pictures you can see of me in the middle, that was me in the left, probably I think sophomore year. So when this journey began, I had already been in the gym probably about a year at that point, had some beginner gains. Fast forward to last year in the middle picture, that was me completely bulked up, 225 pounds in the winter. And then fast forward to that last picture, that was last week. I've cut down to 200 pounds now, and kept some size, a little bigger than I was sophomore year, and also lost some fat. And I can give that thanks to the X49 and the carnosine that I've been wearing every single day. Underneath this, you can see my gains. When I started using the patches, you can see the first 30 days in the gym, my gains went up pretty substantially, I would say. 240 to 270 on bench, squat 315, 30, 35, deadlift 405 to 455. After using it for another 1.5 years, I can say my bench is at 340. My squat is 405 and my deadlift is 520 now. So I've continued to get bigger in the gym. Obviously, you're going to get normal gains just by working out. But the patches, I mean, I've pretty much gone past all of my friends in fitness goals. I've hit all my goals. So consistent training, wearing the patches works very well. You can see at the bottom, I did use glutathione when needed, when having a cold. I rarely get colds. It sometimes tends to happen when I go up to visit my friends in college. It's pretty, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's pretty pretty disgusting
Disgusting.
in places up there in college towns. So I sometimes would come back with a cold, but didn't last very long anyways. And then on the right, you see my lip. That was a slight injury I had from basketball. Someone's elbow hit my lip, and started patching it. Got full recovery pretty quickly. Within months, I mean, it was like it's gone now. No, not even a scar. So that's pretty cool. And then as well, also junior year, you can see in the top right, I had an ankle injury. Believe it was just a bad sprain, but I mean, it was a really bad sprain. I had to go on like crutches, but I was only on crutches for like a day or two. The patches did heal that up very quickly. Within like, I guess a few weeks to a month, it was fine. I mean, I was back to back to like light stuff, nothing like crazy, but some light stuff. So yeah, I like to golf a lot. So if you golf also, a lot of people in the older generation like to golf. I would recommend the energy enhancer for that. You could golf 36 holes a day if you wanted to on that. I've heard a lot of people. I know Gary Homburg is one of them. I also just basically lift weights, and that's about it I do for. I'm not really like, I lift weights, I guess you could say that's an athlete, but I don't play many sports except for golf, but that's basically it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you taking the time to do this, buddy.
Yep.
Trey is an incredible athlete. Obviously, you can see from his gains, he's accomplished a lot. So I'm very proud of him for what he's done. With his injuries, this was supposed to be stitched. This was a week later, so it did heal very quickly to be nothing within just a matter of a couple weeks. This was just a couple of days later. The swelling had already went down on this one, but went back to the ortho doctor in a couple weeks, and the ortho doctor, that does the ultrasound and stuff, they couldn't believe that he had healed with nothing, no sign. And of course, Trey's young, right? So his cells that are responsible for repair and regeneration are active. They're doing all the things too. But sometimes accidents happen, right? And injuries happen. And so to give that body that extra boost that it needs to get past that or get past it even faster is really important. So the next person I want to take us to is Kate. And Kate, I'm going to have you unmute. And Kate has a very different situation that she's in and her background and whatnot. And I want you to give us your background, Kate, and what you did competitively and where you are now. And of course, then I want you to talk to us about your injury and how this patch has helped you as well.
Yeah, so growing up, I was a very active child in high school. Played softball starting from age 4 or 5, I don't know, very young, up until about age 17, and then swam competitively all through high school. And that gave me a great background to start my professional scuba diving career. So I've been a dive master since April of 2022. And not only have the patches kind of helped me just in regular daily life, but it is really important to have good air consumption as a dive professional, just to be more calm and to have extra air reserve if any of my customers or students need extra air. So I feel like it's helped me in that way, just to be like a more calm, more fit, have better air consumption, which is super important. As we go into last summer, I was working as a dive master in Hawaii, and I ended up with this knee injury that removed a lot of the skin. It wasn't just a cut, as you can see from the pictures. It actually removed a lot of my skin, making the healing process a little complicated. And so I decided to wear Eon glutathione, 2 glutathione and 1 Eon on my knee every single day. And I was back in the water within 9 days. So having 9 stitches on day 1, which I've never had stitches before, but my mom, who's a nurse, and just me in general, I think is pretty impressive considering how much of a gash it was. So that was very helpful. And then as I'm healed, I continue to use them just again in my daily work, especially diving 4 to 6 times a day for work can be very physically taxing. So it's just great to stay physically fit for my career.
Wonderful. And I apologize for someone that's marking on the screen. Mark, you may know how to get rid of that. I don't know how to, so sorry about that, Kate. It's not me, I promise.
All good.
But okay, so take us through this first of all, because I know they're going to ask. So elaborate on that oxygenation component. So you're down underneath water, right? Which obviously is taxing on your lungs, your body, your whole vascular system. So how do you feel like the patches have helped that part?
I think so. I think more, less I'm not too sure on the science on it, but more indirectly, as far as it's just helped my fitness overall. I don't competitively swim anymore, but I do swim a lot for fitness just in general, as with my job and everything. So with the patches, they have improved my physical health. And then that when you have a higher physical health, you're going to have a better air consumption. So in layman's terms, that just means I use less air underwater, which is more calming for me. When I'm calmer, I use less air, and that means I can be a better diver for my customers, my students, and I can just be the better version of my dive master self to help other people underwater, because that's my main job. Which is super important because scuba diving is a very dangerous, exhilarating, taxing physically activity. I know for people who probably don't scuba dive, it doesn't seem like a very taxing job. But as far as lifting tanks, boat handling, and just the taxing pressure of being underwater is a lot more a lot harder on your body than it seems. So it is very helpful to stay in shape with these.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and for the leg, I use two glutathione and one eon.
Yeah, and that's amazing how quickly that went from looking really bad to really good.
Yeah, and
with no infection. And you said you did this on a lava rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tore it up pretty kind of on the left side of that scar towards like the bottom, if you're looking at it oriented where it is. That was a piece of skin that actually like flapped open, so it had to be flapped closed and then stitched, which I thought was very impressive. It healed that way and that well.
And this is on your kneecap, right? Like going over your kneecap and down.
Directly.
Yeah. So how's your mobility with that range of motion with it now?
Very, very good. I still, probably for the first 4 days, I could not bend my leg at all just because it would hurt. And I would say after 3 months, I can easily kneel on it because the scar tissue was very tender. So I had trouble kneeling on it for a good couple months after. But it's all back to normal now. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kate, for sharing your experience and sharing your pictures tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Grandpa Dale for making this happen. So he's so proud of you for sure. Thank you, Kate. All right, I'm going to take it over to you, Sharon. And these, I don't know how to get the, Mark, do you know how to get the scribbles off?
Yeah, there's a few people that have a crayon in the lower left. If you can click on that and hit the garbage can, which clears. I don't, only the person that created it can clear it.
Okay, so
there's a
clear all drawings. Yes, Mark, you're so smart. Thank God you know how to do that. Oh, someone's still doing it. Okay, how do I make them not allow them to do it?
We've got to keep them from being a host.
Well, they're not a host.
Somebody is.
That's weird. Okay, well, I'll keep clearing their drawings in the meantime. Thank you for telling me how to do that. All right, Sharon, you have a clean screen now. Sharon, I've heard your testimonial before, and I'm so excited to hear it again and hear how you have improved so much from using this technology. So please share with us how you have been experiencing Lifewave.
Nice. Thanks for sharing, everyone. I mean, how do I compare to that? Mine was all internal. I have no external before and afters to show, but you know, considering I just turned 60 and 4 years ago, I started to feel aging creeping in. And I as well have been athletic all my life. And for a good chunk of the 90s, I was a professional competitive bodybuilder. And, you know, I had a few injuries over the years. I was quite lucky. I only had my knee scoped back in the 80s. But after experiencing some, I did catch COVID. You know, every time I do these shares, more and more I keep remembering, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this and that. Anyway, what had happened with me more so is I had serious osteoarthritis in my knees. Before I knew what it was, I was just miserable. I was suffering with so much pain and inflammation. And I thought I tore a CL, an LCL. I felt like bone on bone. It was excruciating, and it kept me immobile for a long time. And I was on the couch and being, you know, I work with a lot of athletes still to this day. So I'm old school, you know, doing the compression and the icing and the heat, waiting to get an MRI, anything, any kind of procedure. And here in Canada, it takes a long time. So I'm suffering, and I'm sharing my information online with a lot of my old school crew athletes. And everyone's telling me to try this, do that. And I thought I've tried or have heard of most everything, because I do train a lot of athletes as well. And Dr. Stan and Jody Gravely, who are senior presidential directors here for Lifewave, reached out to me and sent me some samples of the X39 and the Aeon. They sent me a week's worth. And mind you, I have been on the couch with my legs raised because it hurt to stand. It hurt to like lower myself to be seated. It hurt to anything to move. Stairs, forget about it. I had to do the butt walk up and down the stairs. Anyway, I absolutely, I put them on. My experience the next day, because my inflammation was so bad, the next day my legs felt 50 pounds lighter each, and it didn't hurt to stand. It didn't hurt to walk up the stairs. It took a while. It took a good month where I was fully back in the gym and doing squats. And I got my MRI and everything done finally. And, you know, I kept using the patches because the next day I phoned Dr. Stan and said, I don't know what this is. I've never heard of it. I want more and I want in because I just love this technology. So I became a brand partner, and because I work with a lot of athletes and helping a lot of people. So for me, for full mobility, it took a good month, but I noticed right away. And a lot of that was the inflammation dissipating. And then last year, I fractured my tibia. I was doing a shoot in California. So I get back to Canada like, man, I really did it now. I thought, again, I tore a CL. Again, it took forever to get into, and even an x-ray here. It's ridiculous. And so I went back in the patches, and I put the X39, the X49, and the Aeon. I usually use the X39 and the Aeon, but I slapped on the X49 as well. I'm like, I don't know what I did, but you know, I gotta take care of this. I didn't know I fractured something yet, but I was up walking again within 2 days. I couldn't stand on it, and within 2 days I'm walking. So I did a video to share for, you know, my channels, and walking around. And yeah, it was a fracture on my tibia. And so when I did get the x-ray, and they sent me for an MRI, and then after using the patches, within weeks, my fracture healed. I'm 60. I have osteoporosis, you know, and it's keeping me mobile. I have no more aches, no more pains. The first time I put the patches on, when I was dealing with the knee issue, I was also dealing with a hip issue, because I'm also a stunt woman. I took a car hit, and it hit my hip. And I mean, I had bruising from my waist down to my knee. And, you know, and again, I'm nursing it and everything else. So that's going, my knees are shot, you know, it's like my wheels are falling off. So patches on, and the knees were the most pain, but the hip I started having hip dysplasia because it kept rolling up, you know, and then I suddenly would walk and I couldn't move. I'm like, oh my God. But I had no more of that. I didn't have to have anything done with the hip. I had no procedures done with my knees. I didn't have to have anything done with my leg. And I was told when they found out it was a fracture, and I'm still using the patches and I'm getting more and more mobile, and they're like, you know, you might need a pin in that because it's a wide fracture. And now, I mean, nothing done, nothing. And I just stay on those patches, and I tell you, I have no more inflammation anywhere. You know, I'm stronger in my gains again. Like, I don't train like I used to, obviously. You can see in the photos behind me here, when I was a competitive bodybuilder in a good chunk of the 90s, but I still like to train because I still train other people. But with the X49, you know, me as well. I mean, my gains are faster, and you know, my fellow athletes are like, "Are you hitting it real hard again? Like you're looking like tight, man. You're filling out." And you're like, "No, I'm just doing my piddly light workouts, you know, just to stay fit and healthy." So major difference. You know, I swear by this stuff. It's just the most incredible technology I've ever come across. It's keeping me mobile and healthy, and my skin is getting better. My hair is getting thick because after COVID, I lost handfuls of hair. It's just remarkable. You
Wow.
know, I feel like I'm 30. You know,
You look like you're 30.
well, thank you. But it's, yeah, I mean, it's no joke. It is the anti-aging golden nugget. It's just amazing. So yeah.
Wow. And so this is incredible because obviously we can hear from what you're saying and your background. You've done some damage to your body.
Yeah.
You've put it through some things.
It's been for the ringer.
So, you're looking at potential surgery, things down the road. Or I love what you put here. Never underestimate the power of your own light. This is your graphic I took off Facebook today.
And I have to tell you that, and that's brought a lot of attention. I have to tell you that my athletes, because everyone's like, because a lot of them had knee replacements, a hip replacement is what I met. Nat, girl, you're next for a hip replacement. I'm thinking, oh God, well, I'm at that age, I guess, but they're like, what did you do? Like, what did you get your knees done? What happened? No, I'm using this patch. That patch, because I wear it on my knees, right? I have one on my neck today, but like this patch, like, come on. I tell you, it's the patch, yeah, okay, then I finally get them to try it, and then the same reaction is like, what is this? This is, it's mind-blowing.
I know, right? People can't believe it until they use it and experience it.
Sounds ridiculous.
Yep, I agree.
Telling you, it works.
Well, I am so happy for you. Thank you so much for sharing and taking the time to come on here tonight and share with everyone in the fitness community, everyone in general. So thank you, Sharon. Thank you. All right, we're going to turn it over to Mark, my tech man. Mark, Trey loved this picture today when he saw it. He said, look at that stash. That's amazing. Let me get you to unmute. Mark, and can you tell us about your journey through years of running and where this has brought you to now using Lifewave's technology?
Yeah, so now we're up to the senior citizen moment. So I am 62, so yeah, we'll get that out right away, senior citizen. But man, not living like it anymore. So you can see the picture from '85. That's a national tournament. Soccer was my sport. You can see just mile times in high school. That's no training. I went to a very tiny school. We trained for about 2 weeks. That just meant I ran every day for a few miles. And so 529-mile college. I mean, soccer, you're focused more on distance. I could run forever, but I mean, the most we ever timed was you had to do 2 miles under 12 minutes. That was like piece cake. So I listed some times in mile times there from 2020 because I was still running pretty consistently then. And again, not training, but I was still playing a little bit of soccer. So I was probably running 2 times a week. So 737 miles, still pretty good at that age. 28 and a half, 3 miles. I was always aiming to do a mile and 8, 2 miles at a 9-minute pace, 3 miles at a 10-minute pace. And if I could lower the minutes, the pace, I was doing good. Then I got 59, and it's like, man, the body started falling apart. That's like the wheels are coming off. Just a lot of damage, just did a lot of stupid things. Giving it all on the field, things that I should not have been playing in games and played on, painkillers and other things, and just had a ton of injuries and just got beat up. So at 59, I stopped running. My mile times were like in the 9s and 10s. I would go for like 2-3 months without running. Just couldn't do it. Mostly my knees and my hips. Could always go out and run a mile. That's not a big deal. But if I did 3 miles, I haven't run 4 miles in about 5 years. I can't do it. And my hips will tell me about it for the next week. So I gradually go out. I did 3 miles the other day. and it was fine. But you know, in 2020, times are good. Then life hit. Just really had to stop running almost together. So move forward to 2022 January. We started using these patches because my mother-in-law was experiencing some serious health issues, and we decided to patch along with her. And when I say use the patches, I really didn't. As my wife, Catherine, I call her the patch lady. She put the patches on for me. I was skeptical. It's like, really? You know, I've been around the block. I mean, putting a Band-Aid on me and telling me it's going to make me better. Really? So she would put them on in the morning, take them off at night. And we were not one of those one patch wonder people. They still annoy me to this day. It's like, wow, we waited. So 3.5 months, I'm still getting these patches put on my back. And we're on vacation one day, and I went out and did a mile. And I had been running at this point, started gradually running a little bit, but I just pushed it a little bit one day, and I came in at 7:16, and I was like, wait a minute, I can't do that. Like, how did that happen? So this was 3.5 months after using the patches. So that's X39, X49, and Eon. And I knew that, I mean, I log this stuff. I mean, this isn't just like shooting the breeze, wondering what I did. I mean, this is all logged. I know exactly what I did and when I did it and the days and what I ran in between. So there was no way my body could do that. And I was like, whoa, that's like crazy. Didn't have time to keep going. A couple weeks later, we're on vacation. That's that 427 date. And I went out in the morning and did 3 miles. My normal 3 mile time is 30 minutes. And I came in, so that's like almost 3 minutes ahead. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't do that. Like, how did that happen? I got in the Cadillac and went and remarked the 3 miles to make sure it was actually 3 miles. And it was dead on. So I was like, well, you know, Dr. Stacy has told me that the recovery is supposed to be improved as well, right? It's not just the improvement in what you can do. So I was like, well, I can't run, you know, 2 days in a row. I can run maybe twice a week and survive it. So I went out the next morning and I came in at 26:25. I was almost 4 minutes ahead. So that showed the recovery, and I was like blown away. I was like, okay, well, and Catherine's like, well, it's the patches, right? I was like, I just blew her off until that second day. And I was like, okay, obviously I'm doing better and the recovery is there as well. So this is 3.5 months into patching. It's about a month later, we're in the Georgia mountains, and I wanted to do something that was a little more difficult. So obviously up and down the mountains, it's not a flat run. Did a mile in 7:43. That's actually still pretty good. Again, realize I'm a senior citizen at this point. So 7:43 miles is pretty good. I'm very impatient. I'm on vacation. It's like, what am I going to do? I don't want to wait like an hour before I run again. It's like, what's the stupid thing to do? I just wait 10 minutes and I'm going to do another mile. I'll probably not finish. Maybe I'll crawl in, who knows? But I'm going to see what the extent of this recovery really is. And so I set off on that second mile thinking I would probably die after half a mile. I came in at 8:30, so I was only 45 seconds less. And 8:30 is actually still a really respectable time for senior citizen.
For anyone, Mark, okay? For anyone.
So at that point, I was blown away. I was like, there's no way I could never have done that. Even like 10, 15 years ago, after 10 minutes doing that again. And so it was at that point in time, you know, is where I went out to a couple of the Lifewave events and met the team and met the people to see if the company was for real, and also were the people for real, you know, these people that I could hang out with and enjoy. So the answer is absolutely. You can see the picture in 2024, so that's almost 40 years later. Lifewave has put me back in some pretty good shape. Had the privilege of running sound for some of David's events and miking him up there. That's backstage, and doesn't look other than the grayish hair and no stash. It doesn't look all that bad for 40 plus years, right?
That's
So
exactly
go forward to that fall. Again, not training, running, and that's the beauty of this. I mean, you can always train even at my age and get down to better times than I'm showing you here if you're training. This is not training. So just going 1 to 2 times a week. When I did that 7-minute mile, I hadn't run for about 2 to 2.5 weeks. And I went out, it was a cool morning, and I just hit it. And I wasn't planning on I'm doing something that good. What I only check my time at every half-mile interval. So I knew at half mile that I was ahead of a 7-minute pace. And I was like, well, crap, now I got to finish it. Otherwise, if I hadn't checked the time, I would have slowed down, and because I wasn't, but at my half-mile time, I was still planning to go 2 miles. And I was like, no, I'm ahead of a 7-minute mile time. I'm turning this into a mile. And I hit it. And so it was 7 minutes exactly. And that's when I just before my 61st birthday. So yeah, if you want to live young again, we've got a site. It's trademarked. It's called Younger, Better You, and that's exactly what we're doing. I mean, we're living 20, 30 years younger than we are today. Catherine is amazing. My wife, she's working out like she did when she was 30s, and it shows. It just you can't beat it. And again, no meds, no drugs, just you. And this is the American male's dream, because I don't go see a doctor. I just put a patch on.
I love
No,
it.
back to you, Stacy.
Wow. Thank you, Mark. That's incredible. Fantastic gains on the road. I've only done a 6:58 mile one time in my life. No, 2 times. Once on the treadmill, once on the road. I can't imagine doing that. Again, I haven't even tried in years to run myself personally, but I know the gains, whether you're in the water, whether you're on the court, in the gym, on the road, no matter what, this technology is providing not only increased ability to do it, right, but faster recovery to do it again across the board for all of you. So we do have questions in the chat. There are 98, so you guys are just going to be here for another 3 hours. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. There's 98 comments. It doesn't mean there's 98 questions. Oh, I love it. So a lot of them are just saying thank you so much, of course. Now, for patches, I think you guys did all mention what type of patches you used. For recovery, I know that Kate, you had said you did Eon and glutathione. For Trey, for his lip and his ankle was X39, Eon, and carnosine. I know Sharon had said X39, Eon. Was there another patch you had used, Sharon? Let me let you unmute here real quick.
X39, 49, and Aeon.
X39, 49, and Eon. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, Trey's lip is all 3 of those. So Trey, Gary says you do hit the ball 300 yards. So in golf, so I don't know who's the farther there between you two. I don't know. Trey, you have anything you want to comment back on that one?
I do hit it farther, but he's a very good player for his age. Very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I think he's whipped some of you guys in shape a few times, right? So
yeah, for sure.
They like playing golf wherever we go. Okay, so let's see here. We've got, oh wow, someone actually took the audio of it, something, and put that in there. It was really good. Do you use energy enhancer, Kate? Have you ever used energy enhancer when you're scuba diving?
I have only used X39 Eon and the glutathione, so no,
Okay.
not yet.
Fantastic. Nope, she is not. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. All right. Let's see. We're looking at pain. Did anybody use Icewave for pain at any point in time? Has anyone used Icewave? No? Mark? Trey?
Yeah, I used it just like 2 times. One, and mostly because I wanted to know if it worked or not. So it was one of those times where I ran too hard too far, because that's another thing that I had done, was intentionally bring myself to the point of pain to know how long it takes to get better. And Icewave, it's the 2-patch, white right, tan left. I put them on the bottom of my feet, right behind the balls of my feet. Yeah, and it would eliminate pain from my knees and hips, so the whole lower half of the body. I was blown away. And now I've only used that like once or twice. I'm one of those. It's a weird thing. If my body's in pain, I want to feel the pain so that I know that when it goes away. Unless it's excruciating, and when it was excruciating, as the 1 or 2 times that I used Icewave.
Perfect. Trey, when did you use Icewave? Skiing? Was it the skiing you guys did?
No, I only used it a couple times. The time that comes to mind was the last event in Orlando. I like for some reason my neck was hurting, just like sitting there all day, and I put it right here, like one here, and it was gone within like 30 minutes. So, but I don't really use it that much, but yeah.
No, I think it was your buddies when we went skiing in Utah. We patched them
Yeah,
all up with the ice wave after all
yeah,
their
that
crashes.
was Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the one accidentally used the Dream during the day. Fun times. All right, so Sharon, someone is asking, did you start the X49 for bone density? And are you actually getting it tested? Have you done any scans on that? I'll ask you to unmute real quick, Sharon. Or did you just use it for fitness performance in the gym?
No, I used it for bone and muscle because that's when I fractured my tibia. So to answer the question here for the osteoarthritis, the first patches I used for that were the Eon and the X39. And so I used those for a good 3 months. And only because I was traveling, I didn't patch anymore. And that's, you know, I was too active, and you overdo things because you feel so good again, you know, you kind of overdo things, which is why I think I fractured my tibia. So as soon as I did this and I got back to my, you know, home, because I was in the US, I ordered patches. And so for that, I put the X49, the X39, and the Eon. But initially I just started with the X39 and the Eon, and that was for the osteoarthritis, which I didn't know it was until afterwards, but that's what relieved all my pain and discomfort and was able to get me mobile again. And we're talking about the ice wave. I mean, I was in a lot of pain, but the 39 and the Eon actually took care of everything, you know, so I didn't even have to try the ice wave. And then with the X49, I just felt, you could just feel like the pump, like when you're in the gym or working out anything, it's getting very lean and tight. Now, I'm very strict on my diet still anyway, but I mean, I could eat more calories. It was almost like in the day where, you know, I have to just keep eating because the muscle kept burning it, right? But yeah, for the osteoarthritis, started the X39, then the Eon, and then later on I put, but here, to answer that other question, I don't have before and after scans, which I wish I did, especially for the fracture, because here in Canada, you can't get it. And I wanted those just for my own channel, right? And the comparisons just to show, yeah, this is me, this is what happened. You can't get them.
Wow.
Yeah. Where in the US, because I lived there for over 25 years, you can get an MRI like that. You can ask for you can even ask for what your blood type is. Here, you can't even do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Mark, question. Someone's asking, what do you have to say for those people using patches and not experiencing the results yet they're hoping for? I've never seen confetti. That was the first time. So, you know, with your mother-in-law using the patches, she didn't experience anything for 5 months, right? So what would you say to those people that it takes, like you, 3.5 months or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months before something changes? Oh, you need to unmute again. Sorry. There you go.
So that I mentioned that it was annoying because there are people, and some are on this call, we know very well that, you know, day one, it's like something happened. My mother-in-law was on a walker, a CPAP machine, and heart meds at 85 years old and didn't want to live anymore. And that's why we started the patches. When she said, I'm okay if Jesus takes me home, we're like, okay, we'll do anything. You got a Band-Aid? Yeah, we'll put that on.
Yeah.
So for her, it was 5 months. 5 months. But you always go back to the fact that David says, hey, you should wear this a month for every decade you are old. Well, that would have meant 8 months, 8.5 months. And so we know going in that it was going to take a while. But I'll tell you that I'm sure Stacy and others got tired of us calling, because we called, you know, Gary, and then we called, you know, others, and Stacy, hey, these things aren't working. These aren't doing anything for us. And we continued. They continued to get calls for us for at least 3 months. Hey, this stuff doesn't work. Just keep at it. It's like, really? Why am I? So, because there was 4 of us doing this, so it's a lot of money initially. When you're thinking that nothing's working, it's really very little money. But 3.5 months is when my runs started showing up. And Catherine was noticing her athletic ability was through the roof. She was also sleeping better through the night. We weren't getting up several times, and brain fog was gone. But for my mom, she was still at that point where these aren't working. And we just begged and begged her to stay on them. And 5 months is when it worked for her. She called me and said, "Hey, I'm at the dock." And I was freaking out. I was next door. I was like, "You can't be at the dock. You can't get there. You're on a walker." I thought she was going to fall in the lake. I ran over to our dock and she was just chilling on a lounge chair. Like, okay, how'd you get here? I walked. Where's your walker? I don't need it. I was like, she wasn't even thinking about like what had just happened. But that was 5 months. So
Wow.
I've only met one other person that actually took a decade for every, or a month for every decade they were old, and that's Bob Campbell. 7 months. But there's reasons for that. He was using the X39. Notice that you heard every one of our athletes that are on tonight talk about multiple patches. X39 will over time give you the result you want. If you're impatient like every other American and you want a result now, X39 and Eon. For me, it was X3949 because I still considered myself an athlete, even though I was a senior citizen, right? At this point, X39, X49, Eon, glutathione, and carnosine every day. And you know what? I'm thinking I want to live a little bit longer, so we'll probably be adding Alavita, right? It's like, but yeah, you have to wait for your miracle. Don't stop before you get your miracle. And your timeline before you should ever complain is at least a month for every decade you were old. I've only seen one person in my entire experience go longer than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mark, for that explanation. Appreciate that. All right, you guys. So we've got about 10 minutes left. If you have any other questions, just drop them in the chat. But I want to explain to you, for those of you that are guests, or maybe you're new to hearing about this technology, I want to explain how this works. Okay, this is what the patch looks like that they're talking about. It looks like a little round Band-Aid. It's smooth on one side, sticky on the other. This is a wearable light technology. Okay, you heard them talk about different patches. All patches work the same in that they all are what we call phototherapy. Yep, there's Sharon's on the back of her neck. They're phototherapy patches or photobiomodulation patches. And that means that this does not put anything into my body. They're non-transdermal. So there's no chemical, no nutrient, no medicine, no herb, no substance is passing from this patch into my body. The only thing that's happening is my body's light or heat that I emit is hitting this patch the moment I put it on and reflecting back a very specific wavelength of light. You won't know what wavelength that is because it is patented. This is a patent technology. We have a 20-year patent on X39. We are in year 4 of that 20-year patent. But what's inside of this patch, what David Schmidt has invented, you heard me talk about him earlier. He's invented all the patches. They all have different proprietary blends of organic amino acids, sugars, water, and oxygen. These molecules, okay? Molecules, not the amino acids like these guys use in their pre-workout or their post-workout, right? Not sugar like from your kitchen in the cabinet, which none of us have white sugar in our kitchen anymore. Not those things, but molecules that form together to form a lattice structure that is reflective. That's in here. So I put it on, my body's light hits it, reflects back a specific wavelength. That wavelength of light activates a peptide in the body. We all have peptides. We know what peptides are. They're chains of proteins, amino acids. They are the building blocks of your body. There are thousands of peptides in your body. They do lots of different things, but each patch is going to elevate a different peptide. You heard them talk about X39. It elevates GHK-Cu. You heard them talk about X49, elevating AHK-Cu. Carnosine is a dipeptide that elevates carnosine. It's a huge antioxidant. Glutathione, you heard that. It's a tripeptide, elevates glutathione in your body. Huge, the biggest master antioxidant. And so each patch is doing something different in the body, activating that process, creating a biochemical reaction to be able to help bring the body into balance. No matter what it's doing. If the body's out of balance, it's seeking balance, right? So this is going to help get it into balance. If the body is in balance, well, then we know what's it going to do. It's just going to help accentuate all of the processes that are normally taking place and help repair, reverse, right? Restore anything that's needed in the body and help with those gains, right? Help the body to have a better quality of life and all the things you heard from the people on here. So know that this technology is non-invasive. There's nothing entering your body. There's no contraindications. There are no side effects or interactions. You heard many different types of situations and scenarios tonight. And knowing that no matter what it is, from A to Z, whatever's going on with you, we always start with X39 and we can add from there. We all love Eon. Eon is that master patch that reduces inflammation and brings that, nervous system into balance. It's great for so many things. So many situations, but knowing that this patch is safe and effective for anybody, whether you're 2 or 102 or anyone in between, like Mark said, giving it time, being okay with, like Trey, did he need at 16 to use the X39 and Eon for anything, repair and recovery? No, he didn't. He was perfectly healthy, right? Same thing with Kate when she started patching, she was perfectly healthy, didn't need it for anything health-wise. They wanted it to, I could say clean out the cobwebs, right? We, as parents and grandparents, we care about our kids. We want to clean out the cobwebs, make sure, right? We're all exposed to toxins. And we want to be able to help, scoot any of those out and get that body, make sure it's working tip-top shape. But when accidents happen, and they do, right? When injuries happen, and they do, you want to be able to help the body recover in a way that's not having to use medications or surgeries. Obviously, in Trey's situation, he avoided. He was supposed to get stitched and chose not to. In Kate's, no, she needed to be stitched up. We're not going to avoid that. Thank God that didn't happen to Trey, because woo, he's like, no to the needles and the doctor thing, right? So we've been able to avoid that. But in situations where you look at Sharon and Mark, they have injuries that have taken place with Sharon years ago, right? Their injuries are old. You're not old, your injuries are old, right? And so, you had performance that you used to have that's long gone, right? And so this has helped them to not only recover from those past injuries, but help improve their quality of life today so that their performance is that of such when they were way younger, right? And so that's telling you we're not only repairing, regenerating, we're turning back the clock, right? We're helping to reverse functionality. And so given it time, these guys have all been patching longer than their months per year, right? I mean, I've been patching 3 years. So is Trey. Mark, I know you're over 2 years. And, so 2, yeah. So Kate and Sharon, you guys have been patching quite some time. Yeah, 2 years. And Kate, are Sharon, you about a year or two? Yeah, 2 years too. So yeah, we've all been patching way past our months per year. Why do we do that? Well, it's a tool in our toolbox. It's a way to be able to help assist, right? This is a way to help assist our body to stay in its optimal shape. So we feel the best that we can. So we enjoy our time that we have here. So we, are able to be able to hopefully skirt past some of those big things that we see facing the most of Americans today. We don't want to have to experience those things. And so we want to keep our bodies in the best shape as possible. So I know we have a couple more questions in here, but if you didn't get your questions answered, please get back with a person that invited you. I would love for you to be able to, talk to them about what's going on with you, your health goals, and they can help you get set up with a wholesale pack that works best for you. But I want to ask, we have 3 minutes. I would like each of you just to share. Trey, if you could share one suggestion, one recommendation for those listeners. If each of you could share one suggestion or recommendation for the listeners, I'd appreciate that.
One recommendation as far as patches?
No, just overall anything. Yeah, just whatever you would recommend for a new listener listening tonight. What would you say to someone that's listening for the first time?
I would say to be open. I would say to think about this business like any other business. My big thing is team building. And a lot of people try to do this all by themselves. And no other business in the world is really all by yourself. It's a team. So this is the same thing. And that's what I would tell people.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Kate, you want to unmute real quick and share what you would share with our guest?
Yeah, I would say just keep at it. I know sometimes when I first started, my mother would give me the patches and I would get a little lazy about it. But once you're consistent with it, it starts to really show.
I love that. Thank you. Stay consistent. All right, Sharon, give us your tip.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I always say, you know, we're in an age where anti-aging is a flourishing industry, and we spend so much money to get our hair done and our nails, and you get a personal trainer, you want on this diet, you want this pill, you want that. And basically everything starts from the inside out. The greatest investment you can do for yourself is to get on the patches, because you start to live a younger version of yourself, literally. And it's awesome to help others, reach out and help others to go on the same path. There's nothing more rewarding, but treat yourself. If anything you're going to do for yourself, and a lot, you know, and again, I'm 60, so, you know, there's a few of my girls that, you know, they spend a lot of money on Botox and skin peels and fillers and what have you, right? And that's okay, but it starts from the inside out. And, you know, and like I said, I've noticed a lot of my wrinkles are disappearing, and I mean, I still have some there, but my hair is getting thicker, the skin is looking better, as well as getting stronger and more virile. And this is the best investment you can do for yourself, at least.
Absolutely.
And for very little, and it's affordable.
Yeah.
That's the thing, it's not that expensive.
Very true. Thank you, Sharon. Mark, last words of wisdom.
The patch is not an excuse or a cover over for a really poor, cruddy health lifestyle.
Very true.
So you can't go out and eat a really cruddy diet and expect to get better. This is the best thing you can do as a health and wellness journey. But notice that Trey works out. I'm just looking across my screen. Sharon works out. Leah, Stacy works out every day. The patch is the best thing you can do, but couple it with a healthy lifestyle, and you'll be amazed at the result.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time this evening to share your journey, your experience with everyone on here. I know we had close to 600 people on here at one time tonight, and so we'll end up, I'm sure, with thousands of people listening to this recording. So I know that your time is going to impact so many people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know everyone here is so grateful for you all taking the time to be here tonight. So thank you all, and have a fantastic evening. We look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be interviewing a ultra marathon triathlete Ironman next week. So we'll wrap up our 5-part series on fitness and athletes. And we're so grateful for the 4 of you to take the time to be here with us tonight. Thank you all, and have a fantastic evening.